We do not see any space for compromise right now. We feel like we can take our territories back, and Russia feels like they can take all Ukraine.
Exactly. So it's an
And
impasse.
yeah, right now it is an impasse, and the change to this impasse could be either we are getting stronger or we are getting weaker. And we do hope that the sanctions will start working, so Russia will get weaker. We do hope that we will get more finance and money and supplies, so we will get stronger. And then instead of impasse, it will be a point to negotiation for us to get our territories back, and for Russia to not to be able to continue the war anymore.
But first off, 131 days since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began, Moscow claims they have now complete control of the Luhansk region in the east of the country. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to regain the farming territory, withdrawing forces from the embattled city of Lysychansk. Over the weekend, Russian forces had to withdraw from Snake Island in the Black Sea. It's a development which could open the door to a return to Ukrainian grain exports from Odessa. So some good news. Those grain exports critical for Ukraine's economy, of course, and the global food supply. Kira Rudik is a Ukrainian MP, of course, and leader of the Holos Party. Welcome back to the programme, Kira. It sounds like bad news.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
No, it's always a pleasure. It sounds like bad news and good news. But just describe for me, if you would, the current situation in Luhansk as you understand it.
So right now, we are concentrated on a couple of critical points for us. First one is we received a candidacy status, so we want to execute on that and vote for all necessary steps to get the candidacy running and to complete all the requirements.
You mean for the EU?
For the EU candidates,
Yeah.
yes, right. And because we do believe that completing those steps will increase the amount of help that Ukraine will receive in the nearest future. Second, it's of course the military supplies and help that we started receiving, and that allows us to push Russians back in some areas, and then do the strategic regrouping in the other ones. What President Zelensky said is correct. We are doing the strategic regrouping in the east. However, it's a sign for our Western allies that we do need more weapons, because Russians are pushing us extremely hard. And third point that we are concentrated is on blocking of our ports, because we do understand that the next harvest is coming, and if we do not export all the remaining wheat and grains, we will just simply will not have where to store the new harvest, and it will create a catastrophe for Ukraine internally and a catastrophe externally for the countries that we are supplying the food to.
How big a blow, though, is the loss of the Luhansk region? Is there any sense at all that, at this point, Putin could walk away feeling, that he can return that to his nation without losing face, and that it might be a way to at least pause the war?
You see, we do not see pausing the war as an option for ourselves, because we have been at this paused war with Putin for 8 years, and we know that it only costs lives of our citizens and does not do good to anybody. We lost 15,000 people over the 8 years. We've just paused war at another part of Luhansk region. We are not going to repeat that once more. So we have all the resolve to fight. We just started receiving the weapons that was promised to us at the beginning of the war, and we are regrouping, pushing forward, and we'll make sure that we will take all our territories back. This is the only plan and the only strategy that we have. All the other ones will be the losing ones, not only for us, but for everybody who is supporting us right now.
You've been speaking to people who fled the Donbass, as I understand it. What's their experience been, and what are the conditions like there now?
The humanitarian conditions in Donbass and Luhansk region are obviously dire. And when we are talking about, okay, well, let's leave some territories to Putin, we are not talking about just moving the border here and there and saying, okay, it will belong to Russia right now, so what? We are talking about giving up territories and people to place and to country where the basic human rights are not being provided, where people being prosecuted for no reason or transported on removed from their homes, same way as Soviet Union was doing that. We are talking about the country where the LGBT rights are not honored at all, where women are not treated equally, where people are denied the base rights to of freedom of speech, of freedom of expression, of ability to be at their own homes or choose the language that they are speaking. So this is absolutely unacceptable for us, because Ukrainians are people who used to all those luxuries of having the democratic rules and democratic values being at at our country. And right now, we do not see why they should be stripped of those rights. And this is what we are explaining to our allies, saying it's not just moving of the border, it's change, civilizational change that is happening for people. And plus, we have already had sacrificed so many lives to keep and to fight for this territory and for our land, that I do not see the way that we are forfeiting that.
I totally take all of that on board, but how likely do you think it is that Ukraine can recapture the Luhansk region as President Zelensky has vowed?
Well, first of all, we have a great example as us taking back Snake Island. Another example would be Kiev, where I have spent the first 3 months of the war. That was told it will be captured in 5 days and in a month, and our army was able to push Russians back out of Kiev region territory, and Kiev is free. So I do believe in our army. I believe that with the proper supplies and weapons, we will be able to retake all our territories back, and this is our aim.
Are you frustrated? You've mentioned a few times the proper supply of weapons and support. Do you feel that that's been very slow coming? I mean, there have been a lot of promises and a lot of sort of grandstanding from European and indeed global leaders, but do you think they've been less forthcoming with the actual things you need?
We need heavy weapons, and we need them fast. This is my general claim. And some of the countries have promised us heavy weapons on the day one, and we still not received them. So, what the pledge is right now, please fulfill on your promises. Please give us everything that you said that you will give us, and then we are sure that we will be able to fight more productively. And of course, we are frustrated because every single day of delay, we are losing people. Every single day of delay, we are losing territories. And we all know that it's much easier to defend the territory than to take it back. And every single time that we will be forced to fight for to take the territory back, it will be more weapons and more supplies required. So the time is of essence, and we really do hope that the country leaders that are our allies will finally give us what they promised.
Just finally, I totally understand from your perspective, but Snake Island is now back in Ukrainian hands. Luhansk is under Russian control. At what point do you, as Ukrainian politicians, have to start looking at resolutions to this war? I mean, there are very few wars with an outright victor. Is there any compromise position at all, as far as you see it from your position?
We do not see any space for compromise right now. We feel like we can take our territories back, and Russia feels like they can take all Ukraine.
Exactly. So it's an
And
impasse.
yeah, right now it is an impasse, and the change to this impasse could be either we are getting stronger or we are getting weaker. And we do hope that the sanctions will start working so Russia will get weaker. We do hope that we will get more finance and money and supplies so we will get stronger. And then instead of impasse, it will be a point to negotiation for us to get our territories back, and for Russia to not to be able to continue the war anymore. Because look, the issue is that we're having not even this war, but all the future wars that Russia will be able to start on us. And we know that it will never finish because they have those imperialistic asks. And the question is the democratic world going to accept that one country can annex part of another country in the center of Europe and everybody will be, oh, okay, this is fine, or there would be something else. And with that, I have those questions that I'm asking every single leader, starting from Macron and then to Rutte and anybody else who is talking about potential negotiations.
Kira Rudik, as always, really fascinating to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Kira Rudik, a Ukrainian MP and leader of the Holos party.